Hey folks, how's it going? Tooth here. Hope y'all are having a good one. Man, kind of discussing with myself right now, I'm not going to lie. I was originally going to cut this video out as a poke and prod, have a little fun video poking at the GLOK fanboys. And with everything that was going on and kind of doing a comparison between SIG and GLOK, I decided that was probably not a good idea. Not because of the GLOK fanboys. I could really give two craps what people think about me. I got a little thicker skin than some people, I guess. But an airman has lost his life revolving around this type of gun right here, the M18. With that being said, I decided this probably needed to be a little bit more serious video and stay on track to what I try to do on this channel, is be factual as best I can and give the best honest opinion I can give. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at what things I have been finding, and there is a notes page that goes a little more in depth involving this gun right here. Not defending it at all by any means with some of the stuff that's going on, but really kind of taking things and putting it out right there. So right off the bat, talking about the SIG P320 series gun. This morning, I was coming out here to drink my cup of coffee, enjoy the nice cool morning air. I say it's cool because it's been averaging around 100 degrees in this area, and it was 80 degrees this morning when I rolled out. Right off the bat, getting on YouTube just to kind of go watch some humorous videos or maybe find some other things that would be interesting to look at. SIG P320, most dangerous handgun in the world, something along those lines was the title. And the individual that put the video together really made a convincing video and all of that good stuff, talking about the capture springs, the shear springs, one overpowering the other, causing the gun to just ND, focusing on wear and tear. Also talked about the striker mechanism with the little L spring in there being a failing problem and everything else. And all in all, when it was said, done, did, and over with on the video, the individual that put this video out said he is not going to mention the armorers or the gunsmiths that gave him this information. So that right there just kind of like red flag up. Me personally, if I was a true blue gunsmith and going through this gun right here, if I found a flaw, one, I would jump on in a heartbeat, not throw my name on it and say, prove me wrong. I do the same thing in the automotive industry because my full-time job is a mechanic. So with that being said, I'm not going to name my gunsmiths that threw a red flag up. Look into the bio, do a little background check on this dude. Not really a full background check, but just kind of going through his links and all that other stuff. It's a lawyer. It was a lawyer trying to get a class action lawsuit started against SIG. Now, I know it sounds like I'm defending SIG. I don't like lawyers, and I don't like people that do that type of stuff. If you're going to name something, especially if you want to go to court over it, you better be able to name your lawyers, because you're going to drag a bunch of people money in on a class action lawsuit. You're taking so much money from them to put money in your pocket to supposedly bring forth this lawsuit. And if you're not going to name your armors, you're not going to get a dime from me. So with that being said, that's done. Last night, once again, sitting there tossing and turning, having a hard time going to sleep, find another video about the SIG P320, which was a group of armors. I did not write their name down, what channel it was. I am going to go back, find it, and I will post the video that I watched last night in the comment section. And they put a pretty good video together going through debunking a lot of the stuff, and also showing where SIG has gone through and made upgrades. And it's a couple of videos you have to watch, and the links will be in that video that I will post in the comment section. And they are armorers and gunsmiths that put their names on their work. So With that being said, like I said, I'm kind of discussing with myself because I was originally going to do this as a I gotcha video. And then those two videos kind of led me also to making this video right here, right now, because it's a proven fact a lot of people don't have a really good attention span of really digging into stuff. Me being one of them, unless I'm really interested in it. And it kind of took me off down another rabbit hole on other things. Right now, as it sits, and as it sits, taking what information I know to put together, actual filed court documentation, actual finding documentation that's submitted to the public, number of firearms sold, and actual number of proven problems with the SIG P320. I'm legitimately finding a less than 1% fail rate on this gun as it sits right now. And I know I'm going to get bashed in the comments section about saying that, but information is subject to change. I'm going to continue to dig into this. But doing this stuff, I was kind of curious because I hear this concept all the time. Gun innovation takes long periods of times to hit. Example, GLOK. There's not a whole lot of changes between the Gen 1 and this GLOK 19X. And this is not a bash GLOK video. This is kind of going to be a comparison between SIG and GLOK and an issue GLOK had with some of their handguns. That does not get reported on at all. I know GLOK has a way bigger fan following than SIG does, and so not everything is perfect. Like I said, like I said right now with the 226, it's a less than 1% fail rate. And as I'm starting this research, as we are naming some problems with the 226 right off the bat, we're going to do the same thing with GLOK. And I want to be 100% honest with you with my findings on GLOK. The failure percentage rate, minus a little bit of one incident, but it also involves new ammunition that we'll be talking about too. Well, actually, no, it is still less than 1% fail rate. So there's that right there. Both gun manufacturers are showing a less than 1% fail rate or catastrophic fail rate on these two types of guns. Just jumping off, one of the things I noticed, and I am going to blame the GLOK fanboys on this. I came across an article that caught my interest, and it was the GLOK kaboom myth. I was like, well, that's interesting. Let's kind of skim over it and read through it. Reading over the article, and especially with the title, myth being in the title, you're saying it never happened. Unfortunately, yes, it did happen. So I just went ahead and dug a little information into this. The GLOK kaboom myth was going on from the 1990s to the late 2000s, mainly involving the GLOK 22 and the GLOK 23, chambered in the 40 Smith & Wesson caliber. Pause right there a minute on that information. In that time frame, a lot of law enforcement agencies were switching from revolvers, 357 Magnums. The reason I know this is my stepdad was law enforcement for a major metropolitan police, and they went to his department went to a Smith & Wesson 406 or 4006 double action semi-automatic handgun chambered in 40 caliber. Also 40 caliber and 357 SIG were doing a lot of competing with each other as far as calibers for law enforcement contracts, and if I'm not mistaken, for the most part, the 40 Smith & Wesson is the one that run out. With the kaboom deal that was going on, what was found is GLOK was using a lot of 9mm components to make these 40 calibers. 40 caliber being a higher pressure round. What was it called? Oh, I got it wrote down here. frame slide separation, actually causing the gun to discharge when it was not all the way in battery and blowing up in people's hands. The part I'm going to bring up here that says that was not a myth and is a real deal, class action lawsuit was filed against GLOK in the 2019. That was either filed or ended in 2019. Case number 219 CV04872 was the class action lawsuit involving the GLOK 22 and GLOK 23. Doing more research, it seems like it was involving the Gen 3 handguns. As far as the GLOK 17 and GLOK 19 go, I did find a little bit of an issue, which definitely falls in the 1% category. Slam fire issues. Sounds like the shear wasn't capturing it all the way, and the gun would double tap to triple tap or run away when I was reading the information on this, and was also causing slide rail separation again. Like I said, this is in the less than the 1 percentile margin of error or fail rates. Any manufacturing you do, in my mind, if you have less than 1%, yeah, I mean, yeah, people get hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it's sad and it's upsetting, but at a money standpoint, that's exceptionally really freaking good. And both SIG and GLOK are in it for less than the 1 percentile. Did GLOK ever issue a recall? I did hear something talking in some of the forums as GLOK did issue a recall, and of course then other people chimed in and said GLOK never had to issue a recall, which I found out, no, GLOK has never issued a recall, but GLOK did issue a voluntary upgrade in the early 90s. Once again, there you go. 98 is when the Gen 3 came out, so maybe it was the Gen 2, or unless I got my dates wrong on the Gen 3 rollout, or maybe this was the reason for the Gen 3 rollout. There was an upgrade, voluntary recall, just like SIG did after the whole drop test thing came out and was apparent. Also like SIG, SIG has, I'm sure, been caught hiding documentation, internal documents concerning safety. 2009, Bloomberg has an article or uncovers GLOK USA employees have concerns over safety upgrades in the late 1990s or Gen 3 model handguns that came out. Like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of research. Honestly, what I'm finding is, like I said, it's less than 1% fail rate. SIG has lost in court over being sued a couple times. How many times they've lost, I don't know. I know it's at least once. I know one of the deals I was reading on, the one they lost, there was no compensation handed off to the officer because they basically proved that the officer was carrying the gun in an improper manner in the waistline and shot himself in the front because he didn't have it in any type of holster. But no money was awarded either way. Both parties found negligent in some way, shape, or form. What I did find, $500,000 was awarded to an officer over an ND in 2011. The ND was caused by a dropped gun. Well, once again, SIG had drop issues falling at a certain angle and it going off, and there was the voluntary upgrade and all of that good stuff going on. Right here, this last point, once again, is why I say 1% fail rate or less. Actually, it's way less. How way less on both the 320 and the GLOK's series of guns is way less than you want to think about, to be 100% honest with you. 22 alleged pistols blowing apart. I'm sorry, not 22. 2020 alleged pistols blowing apart manufactured by GLOK. I did not find anything stating it was a true fact. It was just an article that was written, and honestly, an article comes out like that, not only with the release date of the article, not stating specific makes, models, anything along those lines. It's not real evidence. It's alleged. It goes right out the window. Where I'm going with this video kind of does revolve around the airman that lost his life. I am not going to say SIG's at fault. I'm not going to say an airman's at fault. I am only going to come at this with the facts that I have in front of me. Did an airman lose his life? Yes, it is very tragic. It is very sad. And I think the investigation needs to go on, and whoever's at fault needs to be held accountable. I know the SIG M18 was pulled from work duty for a while because of this, and all rights it should have been while the investigation is ongoing. I know the SIG M18, the Air Force, has put back on duty because the FBI went through, they did a safety test. They found the gun to be safe to operate and safe to use. And the big kicker on that is another airman was arrested for falsifying his statement and hindering the investigation. And that's the big kicker right there. As why that airman is arrested, the other airman was arrested, that is the only thing I know. Falsifying documentation and hindering an investigation. Which leads me to believe us out here in the gun tube world, or just publicly dealing with guns and giving our opinions on them, is a way more potent than people realize. There's another YouTuber out there right now who was just bashing and bashing and bashing the M17 and the M18. And he is currently doing a burn down test and all of that good stuff, and basically talking about the SIG M17 outperformed his Gen 5 GLOK. Some of the issues he brought up on the Gen 5 GLOK, you did upgrade, homie. I'm not going to fault the sights coming off the gun on GLOK, but this individual, like I said, he was bashing and bashing the M17, M18. He's in the military, and now he's like, for personal carry, I'm carrying a GLOK. But if I got to go to war or I got to go do Minuteman, he's carrying the M17, M18. That's cool. I mean, you come out, you did some testing, you found something you like, you're running with it. And I think that's where we kind of, guys like him, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his channel. I think he's kind of an arrogant individual, which is fine. That's his MOS and his job. They're supposed to be that way. But, and he likes to talk without thinking very thoroughly all the time, I think. But anyway, with that being said, I think honesty is a legit deal that needs to be addressed. We need to, the opinions are going to change, facts are going to change. As things go on, we find things, we need to be honest about it and put it out there. Not just flat out saying, because I think with what we have done here on the gun tube world and social media world, talking about the P320, possibly, I think is the best way to put it, may have put an individual in a position where they thought they could lie, which apparently they did lie on their statement to CID. I don't know what the Air Force calls CID. I only know what the Army calls it, Criminal Investigation Division. But apparently lied on his statement and thought he could get away with it because of probably information that is being put out here talking about how dangerous this gun really is. So, yes, we need to hold ourselves accountable. And we need to do everything we can to quit chasing the dollar. Yeah, it's fun coming out here making videos with camping gear, guns, ATVs, all this other stuff, things you like doing. Yeah, it's fun making a video, trying to make a couple of extra bucks off of it. But not to the point where we're putting out enough false information to get someone to do that. is pretty bad. I don't know the whole situation. I know it's an ongoing investigation and all of that stuff. That's about as politely as I know how to put it. Just for craps and grins, I am going to go ahead and do a little more digging to see if I can get my percentages to change on the SIG P320 M18 M17 series. Also look into the fact if SIG, which has been accused of not addressing these issues, or if they actually are addressing the issues. Right now, issues that have been brought up by the military, civilians, and other things, it looks like SIG is addressing those issues. So we need to be honest about that as well. The GLOK is a GLOK. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a bad gun. It's not my favorite gun. Is it a dependable gun? Yes. I really do think it is. The P320 M17 M18 series. Is it a dependable gun? So far for me, yes, it has been. And GLOK has been too. I've not had any issues with this gun. There's other gun manufacturers out there too. Is this my favorite handgun? I've already stated it once in another video. No, it's not, even though the other gun shot like shit. It might just be wore out. That is my favorite handgun to shoot. I like the way it feels. Same thing with GLOK. It is not my favorite handgun. But anyway, that's where I got. Let's just start being honest about things to the point where we're not putting enough information out there to where people feel like they can falsify documentation to get out of something, or I don't know. I mean, it still could be ruled as an ND on this investigation. Something about, there was a little bit of a part of an article that came up as roughhousing involved. The gun should not go off if roughhousing is involved. I'm really looking forward to this whole thing being done as far as the investigation goes, just because I want to see which way things go. And so until that case is closed and done, it's a statistic that's out there that's not settled yet. It can fall either side of the fence. Y'all have a good one. I'm out of here. Later.